And hello and welcome to the November edition of the Haunted Earth Show. I haven't really got a lot to say this month, probably because Halloween is now past, and like a firework that was wet on a winter's day, I think Halloween is always a bit of a damp squib. People obviously go out and enjoy themselves and carry out their own personal paranormal investigations, but really, is Halloween any more different to any other day of the year? My personal feelings are, it really doesn't matter. It's just an occasion and a festival, but it really doesn't have any true significance to what we would term to be the paranormal. What I want to do before I move on to the next subject is share with you my investigation this month within my own very haunted home. Now, what's uniquely different about this particular episode is the fact, and I've heard this on previous occasions, I've heard the sound of an animal purring, a cat purring. Now, when I moved into this house, I moved in with two cats. Sadly, I lost one last year to cancer. But prior to that, I actually came across my own two cats on the landing, facing a third tortoiseshell cat, which upon seeing me ran into an adjacent bedroom, and of course this bedroom had its door closed, and to see solid mass pass through solid mass was quite a spectacle. Any friendly spirits in this room, of this house, could you come to this room now, please, and could you show yourself? Please, could you give me an indication of your presence? Please don't be shy. I've come here in love, light and peace. I mean no harm or disrespect. As always, I just wish to make friendly and peaceful contact with you. I can say that I'm feeling things around me, but I'm not actually visually, as it were, seeing anything at all at the moment. But this is unfortunately often the case with this particular house. But when it does happen, it tends to catch you unawares sometimes. I had my eye on the radiogram, but there appears to be no movement there, and I certainly haven't seen any anomalies. Okay, I'm going to go and sit over here next to the famous radiogram. It's very difficult moving around in total darkness. Just heard something, like a tap. And again. Please, please, could you show yourself? Well, for this moment I'm not picking anything up at all in here, and sometimes it can be like this, but what we will do is go to the master bedroom and continue from there. Any friendly spirits of this house, could you give me a sign, please? Could you show yourself? Hello? Oh, let me jump. Yes, that was quite interesting, wasn't it? I mean, the cat purring really did it for me. And of course, again, once more, we had a bang on the bedroom door. Bangs in my house on doors seem to be quite frequent. I'm not particularly worried. But there is, without a doubt, in the master bedroom, we picked up the sound of an elderly man's voice. And I've heard this before. I've actually heard the voice on the landing. Now, who this old man is, I don't know, but I suspect that he is the source of some of the practical jokes that seem to be played upon me. But there is nothing ever which I would consider to be malicious. As an example, the night before recording this, I was lying in bed and I could hear the bathroom light being switched on and off. And of course, upon investigation, there was nobody there and the light was turned off. Quite frequently, apart from that, I hear people walking on the staircase. Occasionally, it's not something that happens every single moment of the day, but when it does happen, you certainly remember it. So I'm looking forward perhaps to shooting another shorter investigation in the house before the next edition in December. But I also want to add that in next month's edition we have another return visit, this time to the Harwich Redoubt. As you recall, earlier this year we went there, we captured some interesting EVP. In fact, we captured the sound of Morse code. All the team members experienced weird events that occurred within the site area, and I'm hopeful that on my next visit we'll be able to show something a little bit more tangible. Now, as you're aware, in the paranormal business, EVP counts for a lot of what we actually share on the internet and to others who are perhaps, shall we say, skeptical of the paranormal. But again, EVP, like anything else, if you're a skeptic or you're a hardcore non-believer, you are not going to accept at any level the existence of paranormal activity in the form of electronic voice phenomena. So what I've actually done on this piece that you're going to watch very shortly is that I've taken a piece directly from Wikipedia on the definition of EVP, which is, shall we say, a heavily jaundiced piece, to say the very least, because quite clearly it stands very firmly on the side of the skeptic. But what I've tried to do in this presentation is show to you how EVP is unmistakably spiritual, by two examples, and also by my own examination of this particular phenomena. I hope you enjoy this piece.
Wikipedia defines electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, as electronically generated noises that resemble speech, but are supposedly not the result of intentional voice recordings or renderings. Common sources of EVP include static, stray radio transmissions, and background noise. Recordings of EVP are often created from background sound by increasing the gain, i.e. sensitivity, of the recording equipment. They further state that interest in EVP surrounds claims that it is of paranormal origin, although many occurrences apparently have had natural explanations, including apophenia, which is finding significance in insignificant phenomena, auditory pareidolia, which is interpreting random sounds as voices in one's own language, equipment artifacts, and of course hoaxes. Interest in EVP dates back to 1959, when Swedish painter and film producer Fredrik Jörgensen was recording birdsongs. Upon playing the tape, he heard what he interpreted to be his dead father's voice, and then the spirit of his deceased wife calling his name. He went on to make several more recordings, including one that he said contained a message from his late mother. Other than using standard mediums in which to record EVP, there have been numerous attempts to create devices that can communicate directly to spirit, with the Frank's box or the Ghost box being the most popular. Created in 2002 by EVP enthusiast Frank Sumption for supposed real-time communication with the dead, he claimed he received his design instructions from the spirit world. The device is described as a combination white noise generator and AM radio receiver, which is modified to sweep back and forth through the AM band, selecting split-second snippets of sound. Critics of the device say its effect is subjective and incapable of being replicated, and since it relies on radio noise, any meaningful response to the user is purely coincidental, or simply put, the result of pareidolia. I've experimented with this device, which is simply a normal AM band radio receiver with the station selector in constant scan mode. This briefly stops and offers words or sounds which believers are convinced is spirit communicating directly with the user. To me, a seasoned investigator and researcher, this mode of spirit interaction is nothing more than chance random words, which often do not make any real sense at all, and is left more to the interpretation of the user rather than anything more meaningful. From a commercial perspective, however, the Frank's box and all of its many variants have been very successful, but practically the device offers little proof of contact with the spirit world. During the years spent investigating this phenomena, I've experimented with handheld recorders, tape and digital, with the tape version being more successful in capturing EVP. I soon discovered, however, that walking around in the dark and carrying a plethora of devices is cumbersome and rather inconvenient, and now I rely entirely on the audio captured by a camcorder. Camcorder EVP is often very clear, and of course the camera is often pointed at the source where the EVP is originating. On video edit, it is quite simple to strip the audio layer to edit it with any one of the number of many free audio editors available. Over the years, scientists have been attempting to capture EVP using controlled sessions in a laboratory. The results have not been at all very conclusive, but hardly surprising in the circumstances. A controlled test is often performed under sterile conditions, and more importantly, not within a building or structure that could loosely be defined as haunted. And as with most paranormal events, these incidences where EVP has been caught are quite often spasmodic and never to cue, so any attempt to scientifically prove or disprove this phenomena is often flawed. However, the failure of science does not preclude the fact that captures have been made on cam where the spirit actually responds to the questioner, as in this example I recorded in the United States.
That wasn't a brush.
I feel this lady here has really got a lot to say. Hang on guys, we're just going to leave this. I just feel that she wants to say something. Dave, hang on. Mary, we're just about to go now. Is there anything you wish to say just as we leave?
This clip represents what science has failed to achieve in the search for evidence that discarnate voices captured as EVP are in fact spiritual. Firstly, this lady in spirit wanted to communicate with me and answered with her name. Secondly, a few months after sharing this clip on the internet, I was contacted by somebody who knew this lady in life and confirmed the recording to be her voice. If this wasn't strange enough, we have here evidence of spirit contacting an individual by name. Before I share, it is interesting that skeptics claim that EVP can either be the effect of tweaking white noise to produce a sound that mimics real speech, or random radio transmissions picked up in the locality. Here, in this case, the investigator is named Sean, and the voice who addresses him by name has clearly an American accent, which would be a rarer coincidence in an abandoned and desolate World War II airfield in rural England. Sean believes it may well have been a dead relative on his American side of the family, but equally this building was used by Americans during World War II. Either way, this is compelling evidence.
I've just heard someone speak in this room.
The problem with EVP is that it's often left open to the mind of the listener, and as mentioned earlier, pareidotic interpretation by the brain varies from person to person, so one interpretation may vary to that of another. Also, there are occasions when one single brain may actually translate two versions of the same EVP, and where the confusion gets worse, sometimes after recording and editing a video containing EVP, you can sometimes hear something quite unlike what you heard earlier. Is EVP capable of morphing, or is it the result of a highly active brain? That we may never know. But one thing is certain, the debate and sometimes rage over EVP may go on forever, and until the day we are able to build a device that correctly records EVP as it occurs and be less likely for our brains to reinterpret it.
Well, that's wrapping up towards the end for this month, unfortunately. November has been an incredibly busy month for me for other reasons, and finding the time to spend, and I would love to do, an hour show is very difficult. But just one other thing I want to cover. You'll notice that I've been providing Haunted Earth shorts. These are very short, abbreviated versions of longer videos which exist on the internet. The reason that I've shortened them is because a lot of people aren't interested in watching me or anybody else carry out a paranormal investigation. All they actually want is to see activity as a quick fix, rather than actually go through the background story and the build up to any particular event. And so you'll notice that quite a few videos have been created on those lines, which just essentially show activity and not much else besides. I will continue with this, but also will still provide the Haunted Earth show to you each month, because both, I feel, are vital in my quest to be able to go out there and share to you the world of the paranormal. And very quickly, on the subject of paranormal, I've been contacted on a number of occasions by people that are recovering drug addicts, or they have suffered from some form of mental breakdown. But the connection between both is the paranormal, because some people who are drug addicts or recovering drug addicts, I have been told that the reason that they are drug addicts is because they are possessed by a demonic entity. This is absolute nonsense. It does not aid the health or welfare of anybody suffering from any particular illness, if people are going to tell them the reason for their illness is because of demonic energy. I personally have never believed in demons per se. I have believed in evil people in life who continue in death as evil individuals, and as well as those people who in life were very kind and very generous and very helping, and in spirit they manifest themselves in the way that we would describe angels. But as far as demons are concerned, it's just evil people in spirit. And to be honest with you, if you honestly feel that your illness is directly, shall we say, as a result of a demonic entity, then you are sadly misleading yourself. The aid to recovery lies within yourself, and it's the will to continue, the will to carry on and overcome these difficulties. And to do that, you have to remain positive. You have to think positively. If you start to think in a negative way, then obviously you are going to think that you are possessed by demonic entities. Please don't think that. And if you're feeling suicidal over the issue of the fact that you feel that you have this demonic entity, then you should seek further advice. And that's coming from somebody who has been investigating the paranormal, who has empathic ability, who as a child used to experience a lot of paranormal activity. And I can assure you that many of the occasions in your life which you put down to some form of demonic involvement is quite often the actions of your own mind and circumstances. And if you are a recovering addict, then I salute you, because at least in your life you've made an attempt to change things around. But please, please do not listen to anybody who preaches demonic entities as a reason for your own personal suffering. And on that final note, I will say to you all, good night from me here in England, and I look forward to speaking to you again next month with a great investigation from the Harwich Redoubt. I'll speak to you then. Take care.